Welcome to Tathastu ICS. My name is Pooja Sharma and I am here again with your new DNA session. Today is 9th of June 2025 and I am going to take your DNA. This is the front page of your The Hindu newspaper. Again, few important news. You must go through your front page of Hindu newspaper. Okay, it is actually very good practice in general, right? इसको छोटा कर दो, ये बहुत ज़्यादा वो zoom हो गया, ठीक है? So this is the QR code for the Telegram group from where you can access the PDF files of these DNA sessions, right? So let's see which important news we are going to cover. The first is your editorial. In today's paper, editorials were actually very good. So the first is your editorial only, and it is actually about free speech. So the article is actually going to revolve around the idea of free speech, but the law is saying how the judiciary is interfering in between that. So it is about judicial sensitivity to sentiments is a sign of regression. So what is the meaning of this particular line? It means judicial sensitivity. For example, we all know in India we have free speech. Okay, it is actually a fundamental right which has been given to citizens, that we can, if we are not violating a law, if we want to criticize a government or criticize something, then we are free to do that, right? So it is not that always whatever someone is saying something, it is, if it is going to hurt sentiment of some people, and we are going to rely too much on the hurt sentiment. So these days what judiciary is doing, judiciary is becoming more and more sensitive. Even it is actually saying the people that you need to apologize, whatever you have said, it is not morally correct. So the things are not aligned with what actually has written in the constitution. So judicial sensitivity to sentiments is a sign of regression. It means such kind of behavior by the judiciary is kind of a sign of regression. It is not something we should be happy about. Now next news we are going to do, what is the significance of the census. As we know that the new census is announced. Okay, new census means the census which is going to happen later in 2027, for next decade. We all know that 2011 census was postponed because of the COVID, and we still don't have the desired results, but now the new census is actually announced. This census in general is very, very important. Why? Because this census for the first time, again not for the first time, after so many years, after 1931, we are going to include caste census. Second, it is important because this is census which is going to be a base for the next delimitation for the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha election and state legislative assembly election, sorry, not Rajya Sabha. And the third, why? So elections, and why it is important. Thirdly, the women reservation, the bill has is already passed. So women reservation in our country in Lok Sabha is going to be determined by this census only. So this census is very, very important because this is going to be the first census after 2025, when there was a limit that after 2025 the delimitation should happen again on the basis of the population, because it was freezed earlier. So this time the census is going to be very, very important. Again, the article is going to tell us about what is the meaning of census, how the census is being conducted in our country, and what is the history of census. Very important article for both prelims and mains point of view. Okay. Now, next article is how is India planning to localize its EV manufacturing. Okay. In one of previous DNAs, I have mentioned about this policy, EV policy, which government has announced. What about that policy? According to that policy, government is going to ease the import duties on completely made EV vehicles, vehicles, EV vehicles, which can be there in India. Earlier, the import duty was from 70 to 100%, but now the import duty has reduced to 15% up to some extent, up to some, for example, you can only, a particular company, we can import 8,000 electric vehicle in year only, and there is a limitation, and in return also they need to invest in our country. So the new policy is actually here. Obviously we are going to do this policy in detail, but now this again a very important article from today's point of view, that how is India is planning to localize its EV manufacturing. Why do we want to localize? India want to achieve its Make in India project. Make in India. We want to make things in India. We want to make Indian manufacturing hub, and we all know that in India we are not very good when it comes to manufacturings. We are not good, so we need to have some policy incentives. So this is one of such incentive. EV vehicle in general are very important. We want to sway away from the petrol based or the diesel based vehicles to electric vehicles. So that's why our companies are also, for example, Mahindra and Tata, Indian companies have already invested so much in EV manufacturing, but the government want more. So government is actually incentivizing the foreign car manufacturer that they come to India, they invest in India, but in return government has reduced the import duty on fully manufactured EV vehicles, right? Now this is all about that. Now fourth, extremely fortunate to be part of space mission, says Shukla. One of India's Air Force member is going to be a part of an international space flight. So we are going to discuss that also in detail. The fifth news revolves around one of the military exercise. This is going to happen between India and Mongolia. Okay, what is the name of this exercise? Nomadic elephant. Okay, this is the importance of this fifth news. So let's start with our first article. Yes, I have already discussed in previous DNA, but today's article is based on its implication. That was just the news. Today we are going to understand the implication. Do you think this particular policy is actually going to benefit us or not? Okay, it is actually the critical analysis of the news which I have told you earlier. Now let's come to our first article, that is about the judicial sensitivity to sentiments is the sign of regression. Let me tell you the main idea first so that you can understand the article very easily. So main idea here is that Indian courts are no longer strongly protecting free speech. They are not protecting free speech. How? They are trying to control and manage it by telling people how to speak, right? What to say, sometimes even asking them to apologize for offending others, and we have so many examples, right? I hope you all know about the famous example of Allahabadia, right? So whatever he said, he was actually there in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court asked him to apologize, okay? But he didn't say something that actually broke the law. This article is going to cover all the such examples. Now there is a recent controversy around something has been said by Kamal Hassan about Tamil and the Kannada. So let's see what is going to happen in this article. Again, the article starts with this very beautiful line: Indian courts today are not defending free speech, they are actually managing it. What we need to do, what judiciary need to do, judiciary just need to defend the free speech, because free speech is a fundamental right which has been given to us, and it is the duty of the Supreme Court to protect the free speech at any cost. What the government is doing, what the judiciary is doing these days, judiciary is managing it. Judiciary is not thinking or interpreting on the lines which is based on the constitution or what the constitution or the judiciary has said earlier. But now if there is a little bit of controversy, the judiciary is intervening, and obviously there are so many FIRs against the person, but judiciary is coming and judiciary is saying no, you should not hurt the sentiments of the people and all. So judiciary is becoming more sensitive towards the sentiments. So this is the line. Judiciary is becoming more sensitive to the sentiments of people, and it is kind of a regression. Why it is a regression? Because what is the main aim in a democracy of judiciary? To protect our fundamental right, and free speech in general is the fundamental right. So what is the job of judiciary? Judiciary's job is not to correct people or not to tell people what is moral, what is immoral. Judiciaries should be on line with the constitution only. So we are going to discuss everything in this particular article. Very beautiful article. So what is going wrong these days? So courts are focusing on people's feeling, or you can say that people's sentiments, rather than protecting the speaker's right. So again, what is the right of speaker? It's the freedom of speech and expression. Speech and expression. This is the fundamental right. Right. But judiciary is focusing more on the sentiment, less on the right of a speaker. Judges are asking people to apologize for things that may have hurt emotions, even when whatever they have said is under the law or it is completely legal. So we have so many examples of it. For example, recently a young man criticized Prime Minister and he was not protected by the court. He should have been, because it is the right of the person to criticize the government. We can actually criticize our Prime Minister also, right? So it is not something that is illegal in our country. So we need to think from legal and illegal point of view, not moral or immoral point of view, because again, morality and morality is very subjective thing, right? Second, Kamal Hassan was told to apologize for this cultural comment when he said that Kannada, Tamil is daughter of Kannada and Kannada is like that. So there was the sentiments of few people were, heard. Then Karnataka High Court has summoned Kamal Hassan and asked him to apologize to the people because he have hurt the sentiments of people. Again, there was no need of it. Next, a podcaster, we are talking about Ranveer Allabadia only. He was judged for using strong language in his comedy show. A professor was taken to court for his opinion about a woman soldier. We all know about this controversy of this one Muslim professor. Actually, he has commented something about the media coverage of Operation Sindoor, and whatever he has said, maybe whatever he was saying, it was considered something that is not as per the sentiments of the larger population in our country. Now, Rahul Gandhi was denied relief for calling army cowardly, even though such speech should be examined under strict legal standard. So what judiciary did? Judiciary is not measuring the words that is it legal or illegal. Judiciary is focusing more on the sentiment of people, and today is the time of social media. Even if someone is saying something that is completely legal but is not liked by other, judiciary cannot intervene and say no, this is something, even if it is legal, because it hurt the other larger section of the society, you need to apologize over that. So this is actually the crux of the article. Now the article is actually having its course, and the article is mentioning that two disturbing patterns emerge from these cases. So there are two patterns which are emerging out of it. First pattern is the judiciary is increasingly equating speech that provokes emotional reactions with legally actionable harm. It means if someone has said something which provokes the sentiment, okay, or emotions of people, it doesn't mean it is definitely going to lead to something that is going to, it can lead to violence. So it is not always, okay, if a particular free speech is leading to violence, then we can say that it is harmful. But if it is not leading to any kind of violence, how can we judge, or how can we say that it is something that is actionable and legally harmful? Feeling hurt is being treated like a crime. So this is something that is coming out of it. Courts are starting to treat speech that hurt emotions as if it is illegal. Second, but the constitution only allows restrictions on speech if it causes either violence. So there are certain restrictions. So if such as violence, hatred, disturbance of public order, right? Okay, if a particular speech is not covering these area which is restricted, it means that is completely legal. Okay, if something is completely legal, why someone need to apologize for something that is not even illegal? Second thing that is coming out of it, more is outrage, the more cases we have. It means when the court asks people to apologize for upsetting others, then more and more such cases are coming up. If the court is going to give or feeding to such kind of behavior of the people, then definitely people are going to come from the each and every corner of the country to treat other people like, no, someone said something about it, he needs to apologize, or that need to apologize. So such kind of chaos can happen, and we are seeing so many cases are coming. And why these cases are coming? Because judiciary is paying so much heed on it. Now The growing judicial tendency in India to curb free speech by prioritizing sentiments over constitutional liberty is alarming. First of all, we need to understand that. Then the crux of the article, the final conclusion of the article also focus on this particular phenomena that is known as the doctrine of chilling effect. That is something you need to understand. So what is this doctrine of chilling effect? Now article is saying that doctrine of chilling effect that is actually there in America and Europe, okay, has been acknowledged in India's court also, but it seldom enforced. It means it should not be there. This doctrine is not a positive doctrine. Let me understand you what is the meaning of this doctrine. So it means that the people stop speaking freely. People will stop speaking freely or expressing their views because they are afraid of punishment, arrest or trouble, even if what they say is legal. It means if our judiciary is going to pay attention to such kind of cases where a person saying something is not even illegal, right, and they are just expressing their views, and whatever they have said is completely within the legal limits, but it actually hurts someone's sentiment, if the judiciary is going to ask people to apologize for such behavior, then such kind of cases are going to emerge from each and every corner of our country. Okay, then what is going to happen? Then the people will refrain away themselves from saying something. It means we are actually making people fearful that if they are going to say something, they will either be arrested. Best example of this is a comedian is there, and the comedian is doing stand-up comedy. Now he is fearful. He cannot say that, oh please, don't use your cameras. If I'm going to make a joke, okay, if it's just a joke, maybe it will go viral and it will hurt the sentiment of people and I will go to jail, right? So this is the fear, and this is not something that is good in a democratic country. No one should be fearful of saying something that is legal. Okay, so we need to understand that. Otherwise, people will stop saying something. No one is going to criticize the government. If no one is going to criticize the government, there is no chance of improvement of any government in the democracies. That's why criticism of government, criticism of everything is very, very important, especially a country like India, right? We are a diverse country. The people are definitely not going to like each other. There will always be diversion between people, between regions, between religions, between, caste and everything. So we cannot give importance to each and every speech or saying which actually hurt a particular section of a society. Obviously, we need to be, careful about it, but we cannot stop it. We cannot make people fearful that if you are going to say something, you can go to jail. Okay, so it is talking about that. So this is the meaning of the doctrine of chilling effect. Again, this article was about that whatever judiciary is doing, that paying heed to the sentiments of the people is somewhat regressing in nature. Let's come to our next article, very important article of today's newspaper. What is the significance of the census? Why it is there? Because what is the story so far? Now the Union Home Ministry has announced the next census will be conducted in 2 phases. Always it is in 2 phases since 1971. That the reference date for the census would be March 2027. It means from 2027 the census process is this process is going to get started. So next census is going to be there. Now, so what is the history of census first? Let's understand that. First, let's understand what is the definition of census in general. You can use this definition many a times in your mains examination. Census is the process of collecting, first of all, compiling and analyzing the population of a country. If we talk about from ancient history's point of view, so where we have the we can say that from where this census process in India started. So in ancient history also we have references. So in Kautilya Arthashastra, the census is mentioned. How do we know that? Because it is again mentioned in Aine Akbari. Okay, right? So there have been reference to population census. But if we talk about the present day census, so it actually started in 1881. Right? What is the meaning of synchronous census? If the population data is collected simultaneously across all the country, like the census, which the kind of census we have, it is a synchronous census only, right? So this new type of census, the modern census, started in 1881 obviously started by Britishers, and till then we have the census. Okay, again the last census where caste was enumerated for the Hindus was in 1931. What kind of question is being asked when the census is being conducted? So there will be questions regarding the age, sex, mother tongue, literacy status, religion and caste of the person. Caste, earlier we actually ask or we count people on the basis of SC and ST population. So we count people if they are SC or ST, otherwise we don't ask about the caste of the population. But this time we are going to ask what is the caste of person, the person lies in OBC or not, right? Now, how is the caste census how is the census in general is conducted? Okay. The census is a union subject first of all. So center is the one which is actually responsible for conducting the census, and it is governed by the Census Act 1948, right? Again, the central government is responsible for entire census and appoints a censor commissioner because it is a union subject. So that's why whose duty is to conduct census? It is the duty of central government. Other than that, it is actually a good thing also, because census should be something that is centralized. If we are going to give this duty to each and every state, then they are going to conduct census as per their own choice. Even if we are going to give a directive to them, then even then there will be differences. So we want to have a unified census for whole country. So that's why it is a good thing that it is being conducted by, and that's why the census as a subject was a part of union subject only. It also, first of all, there is going to be a census commissioner. Other than that, there are directors of census operation. State government का क्या role है? State government provides staff, for example, teachers through local authorities. So those people are going to go to the house by house and they are going to collect the data. Now, so census process, let's understand this since 1971, how it is being conducted. So it is being conducted in two phases. Okay, first phase is the house listing and the second phase is the actual population enumeration. So what is the meaning of house listing? So it is actually going to be conducted in within 5 to 6 months, where they are actually going to collect data on the basis of house. Okay, house. For example, water sources, toilet, kitchen, cooking, fuel, TV, computer, etc. So they are going to go to someone's house and they are going to have the census based on the house. So for example, this is one house and the particular house contains these many things. They have a vehicle, okay, they have a water connection, they have electricity connection, they have a TV, fridge and everything they are going to write down. Obviously that time they are not going to ask about your about the number of people who are staying in that household, because the population they are going, it should be the last thing. It means it should just before when the census is going to be released. Then there is a phase 2 where the population is going to be collected. Population data is going to be collected. So it is usually done in the February of that particular census year. For example, if the census is going to be there in 2031, let's say the census is there, then it is going to start on the February of that particular year. It collects personal data like name, age, gender, religion. Now caste also. Since 1971, we are collecting the caste data only for SCs and ST. Now we are going to collect the data for OBCs also, language literacy, etc., etc. Right? Again, provisional data is released as soon as after the enumeration, but the final census report is going to be released later, right? So this is how the census process is going to go. What is the significance of the census of this time? So this is the significant. How significant is this time census? So first of all, it is significant from 3 points of view. We all know that the 2011 census, okay, so it could not happen. It could not be conducted because of the COVID, right? Okay, so 2021 census was actually postponed. Now, the present census can be considered the most significant and independent history for 3 reasons. The first reason is this time it is going to include the caste detail of all Hindus. Okay, please make sure caste detail of all Hindus only. Right. The second, since this census would be the first after 2026, so it is actually going to be used for the delimitation exercise, which is going to determine the number of seats from each and every state in Lok Sabha as well as state legislative assembly. Again, it is very important. Third, this census is going to form the basis for the reserving 1/3 seat for the women in Lok Sabha and state assembly. So that's, and the census is very, very important, very significant census. So what should be a way forward here? First of all, caste enumeration must be done carefully and accurately. It is going to guide so many decisions this time. So 3 decisions are going to be taken on the basis of this census. So it should be a very careful process. Second, at the same time, the concerns of southern states, smaller northern states and the northeastern states about losing their political influence, why they are confused, why they have this concern? They are concerned that because their population is less. For example, southern states, they are saying that our population is less as compared to north. Why? Because the people from South India, they don't have this high fertility rate as compared to the North Indian states. North Indian state, they have more population because they could not, pay much. They did not pay much attention to the population control. So that's why North has more population. Whichever state is going to have more population, the seats from that state are going to be more. It means that's why the southern states are fearful that this time in this delimitation process, they are going to lose some seats. Same with the smaller northern and northeastern state. Even their population is not that much, and it hasn't increased at such a rate as compared to the rate of the population increment in, let's say, UP and Bihar, right? Again, many states are asking to keep the current number of Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly as it is. Why they are asking? Because of the same reason, that those states who have actually worked on the population control program, they actually educated their people on the basis of that. That's why their population is less. But those states who could not do that, they are actually going to get more seats in the Lok Sabha and Lok Sabha. So this is, and their representation of the states who actually did good is going to be less. So this is actually not fair. So that's why they are demanding that the current number of Lok Sabha seats should be unchanged. Therefore, the delimitation process should not be rushed before 2029 election. Even if the census is there, but we should not, have this delimitation process the moment the census results are out. Now, let's come to our next article. Any questions? No. Next article is, how is India planning to localize its EV manufacturing? So what is the meaning of it? First of all, India is planning to localize. Localize ka matlab hai, we want something to be manufactured in our country. We want something that is indigenous, and it is talking about EV manufacturing. EV means electric vehicle. Electric vehicle. Why government is paying so much attention on electric vehicle? इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल इसलिए क्योंकि उससे पॉपुलेशन कम होगा. हमारे जो NDCs हैं, नेशनली डिटरमाइंड जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है, उसमें जो हमारे टारगेट्स हैं, इफ वी वांट टू अचीव दोज टारगेट, वी हैव टू have so many policies, programs, so that we can fast forward our EV manufacturing in our country. So we can have two kinds. The final point is that we need EV vehicles on our roads. ठीक है, हमें अपने रोड्स पे इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स चाहिए. नाउ दोज इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल कैन बी इंडिजिनियसली मेड. इट मीन्स सम the vehicles which are made by Indian companies. Second, we can actually import EV vehicles from outside. So we can do both things. If we are going to import more and more manufactured, totally assembled electric vehicles from the outside, then Indian companies, they might not compete with those particular imported products. So we are actually going to lose this localization of EV manufacturing. Now what the government is doing? No, obviously this is the final, that we want EV vehicles on our roads. But now, on the addition of that, we want something. We want the cars which are running, EV vehicles which are running or on our roads, they should be indigenously made. ठीक है, तो वो हमारी ही कंट्री में बनी हुई होनी चाहिए. So this is the meaning of localization of EV manufacturing in our country. So this is one policy that government has, that we need to localize our EV manufacturing in, or you can say that in our country only. right? So I hope you understood that. Now for that, government has come up with this new guideline. So let's understand those guidelines, where we are going to understand what are the implications of those guidelines. So everything is happening so that we can robust the localization of EV manufacturing in our country, right? So what is the story here? Now, more than a year since it was announced, it means the electric vehicle policy, the Ministry of Heavy Industry, it comes under the Ministry of Heavy Industry, okay, please remember it, notified the guidelines for the scheme to promote manufacturing of electric passenger cars in India. Again, this is the scheme to promote manufacturing of electric passenger car in India. In India means we want it to localized, or we want indigenous. You can use all these words. Okay? Indigenous EV vehicles we want, localized manufacturing we want these cars to be manufactured in our country. So we need to have a particular scheme. We already have a particular scheme, but now after 1 year we actually have the proper guidelines, okay? How we are actually going to do that. So what are the what does the policy propose? So what are the proposals in the policy? Now first, the reduction of custom duty on the import of ready to ship electric four-wheelers from present 70 to 100% to 15%. Okay, आपको लगेगा कि अरे custom duty क्यों कम कर रहे हैं? Why are we reducing the custom duty? We want to, we want to have indigenous electric vehicles in our country. If we are going to reduce the import duty, if we are going to reduce the import duty is a tax. It means more EVs, completely assembled EVs are coming to India. If more EVs are coming to India, how our plan to promote manufacturing in EV passengers car in India is going to get fulfilled? But there is a, there is the other side of this story also. Yes, this is true. This is true. We are doing that. We are reducing the custom duty on completely assembled electric vehicles from outside. Now those vehicles are going to come to our country and they are going to run on our roads, right? But how it is going to promote the localized manufacturing? Let's see that. Now we have reduced the duty. Now there is a condition: whoever is going to import these electric vehicles to our country with at a very small custom duty, only 15%. So in return they need to do something. So what they need to do? They need to invest in India's localized manufacturing market. So we need investment. We don't have investment. How can we make our how can we fast forward our EV manufacturing? If for that we need investment, and from where we get the investment? So we are actually incentivizing the foreign car manufacturer to invest in our country, and in return we are actually giving them, okay, once in a particular year you can import 8,000 electric vehicles. So it is not that unlimited, you are going to get 15% import duty on unlimited electric vehicles which are going to be imported in India. No, only 8,000 vehicles, maximum 8,000 vehicles, okay, can be imported at a reduced duty in a particular year. Other than that, it is going to be applied to all the vehicles which are valued $35,000 for a period only for 5 years. So this 15% import duty is there only for 5 years, right? And what these electric vehicle manufacturing companies should do? They need to invest. They need to invest in our country in next 3 years. And how much they need to invest? They need to invest minimum, okay, 4,150 crore. Again, you need not to remember this data. But these 5 years, okay, these 3 years, these you need to remember. It's very, very important. Other than that, what is our plan? Our plan is that to build these infrastructure and facility to enable 25% of the overall manufacturing activity to be undertaken domestically within 3 years. It means our plan is that within 3 years, after 3 years, we want 20% manufacturing is there in India, okay? So Indian manufacturing, it means it should be localized. Other than that, 75 can come from outside import. And what is our next planning? In next 5 years, we want to make this 25% 50 years. It means what is our target in next 5 years? 50% electric vehicles which are on our road are localized or indigenous, and 50% are from outside. And how can we achieve this 50% localized? From the investment by these foreign EV manufacturing companies. They are the one who are going to invest in our country, and in return we are actually giving them that, okay, we are reducing the import duty from 70 to from 100% to 15% for these next 5 years. Okay, this is actually the news. So these are actually the guidelines. Now the question is its implications. So is it actually going to help the overall ecosystem or not, right? Now, India's industrial policy for EVs is positive. It means it is not a very bad policy. We needed investment. For that, we actually going to reduce the import duty so that the manufacturing companies which are actually going to import in our country, in return, they are going to invest in our EV manufacturing industry also. But now, only if it ensures technology transfer. But in all these guidelines, we haven't talked about the transfer of technology. But we have talked about, first, a foreign company can, import at a very low import duty in our country, right? First of all. Second, in return, the company is going to invest in our in localized EV manufacturing industry. But there is no talk about the transfer of technology. Why transfer of technology is important? If we want to have a fast forward EV manufacturing in our country, अगर हमें हमारी कंट्री में इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स बनाने हैं तो उसके लिए हमें टेक्नोलॉजी भी चाहिए. सिर्फ इन्वेस्टमेंट से तो काम नहीं चलेगा. सो मनी इज ऑब्वियसली इंपॉर्टेंट, बट technology transfer is also very important. We could have talked about technology transfer also, okay, to domestic firm. As India risks becoming merely a manufacturing base, other than that, what is going to happen? Those companies will come to our country. Few cars they will, get along with them, and few they are going to make in our country. Eventually, the car is going to be a foreign company's car. Okay, it is going to be a Tata's or Mahindra's car. Countries are unwilling to share their technology, so relying on foreign firms may not strengthen India's ecosystem. So this is kind of something, a drawback of this particular scheme. Lessons from China and South Korea. So what is there? Their success come from skilling, research and development and innovation. We are not focusing on this skilling, research, development and innovation. Where we are focusing right now? We are focusing only on, getting our some kind of investment from outside. So that's it. We are focusing more on the money side. We are not focusing less on the tech side. We are not importing technology. We are only getting money. Now, EV market trends. In financial year 2025, EV sales were led by 3 vehicles. That was 57%. Okay, not 4 vehicles. But this policy is basically talking about the 4-wheelers. Emphasis should shift towards public transport infrastructure. Again, we did not talk about public transport infrastructure. Why public transport infrastructure? Because in our country, majority of our population in our country rely on this public transport only. So these public transport are more important for us as compared to the 4-wheelers, right? Now, what about India's industrial ambitions? Now the article talks about the opposed, that Tata Motors stand kya hai? They opposed Tesla's push for lower import duties, arguing it would undermine the local investment. Yes, it is going to undermine it. Other than that, Indian EV companies like Tata and Mahindra need continued government support. Current dominance kiska hai abhi? 80% of EV in 2024 were made by domestic manufacturer. Right now, our domestic dominance is there. But if we are going to reduce the import duty, it is going to change the game. Reducing duty is definitely going to hurt the local industry. Current policy overly favors foreign capital, okay, and must instead strengthen local ecosystem and manufacturing capacity. So this is something I have told you many a times in this particular article only. Okay, I hope you understood the article. So this article is actually talking about the guidelines, okay, and the implication of that particular guidelines. Now, let's come to our next article. A very small news. Extremely fortunate to be part of the space mission, it has been said by Shukla. Who is this Shukla? He is Shubhanshu Shukla. Okay, he is actually going to become, history is going to get created. He is actually going to become the second Indian to travel to space. Okay, after 41 years gap Before that, Rakesh Sharma was there in 1984 mission. Okay, look, Kalpana Chawla and Sunita Williams, they were not Indian citizens. They were American citizens, though they were of Indian origin. So that's why we are saying that he is going to be the second Indian to travel space. So he is actually Indian citizen, right? Like Rakesh Sharma was Indian citizen. After 41 years, now the second Indian citizen is going to go to space. So what is this mission? This mission is Axiom 4 mission, okay? And they are actually going to go to International Space Station, and the launch is scheduled on Tuesday, this Tuesday only, right? So from how they are going to go, SpaceX Dragon is the spacecraft, and the name of the mission is Axiom 4. That you need to, remember. This is something you need to remember from this article. And rocket is Falcon 9, right? SpaceX, this is a SpaceX mission, right? So who are the crewmates? Peggy Wilson, again Tiber Kapu, okay, and one person from Poland. Again, you need not to remember the name of the crew, but we need to understand here name of the mission, Shubhanshu Shukla, and he is going to become the second Indian to go to space after Rakesh Sharma. Why second Indian? Because Kalpana Chawla, Sunita Williams were Indian origin people, they were not Indian citizens. That's why we are saying that it is the second Indian. Now, next article, India and Mongolia hold joint military exercise to enhance interportability. Now, they are actually conducting the 17th edition of the joint military exercise. That is, this exercise, you need to remember the name of the exercise, Nomadic Elephant, from May 31 to June 13 in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. So, this time it is going to happen in Mongolia. Last year, it actually happened in Meghalaya. This year, it is going to be there in Mongolia. Exercise is going to focus on counter-terrorism, precision snipping, non-conventional operation in semi-urban and mountainous terrain under United Nations mandate. Other than that, it aims to enhance interportability, mutual coordination. These are the basic line. This is important. A key aspect is stimulated UN peacekeeping drills. Now, you all know about what is the meaning of drill. It means they are going to create a war-like situation, and this is how the exercises are being conducted. So, exercise also promote defense cooperation and cultural understanding between these two countries, right? So, this was about this news. I hope, okay, this is all about the news. I hope you understood today's news. If you have any question, you can know. NCRT classes, okay, you can ask, you can call some number if you can find some number in the comment section, or you can just message. You can go to the website of the Tathastu ICS, you will get the required information, right? Someone is saying, ma'am, reservation will rise after census. I think you are trying to say your reservation ही बोलना चाह रहे हो या कुछ और लिखा है आपने, ठीक है? No, you need not to worry much about it, okay? That reservation is going to, caste census is something that is actually going to benefit us as a democratic country, because everything should be clear, nothing should be hidden, right? So don't worry about reservation is going to increase or decrease. That is not in our hands right now, and whatever is the need of democratic country, so things are going to happen accordingly, okay? So don't worry about all these things. Okay, so this was all about today's discussion. So we are going to meet tomorrow again at the same time only. So till then, thank you so much and have a very, very nice day.